is Jazzy. I'm calling from Oakland. And I believe growing up means you have to cast your net far and wide. It means discovering more of the little joys throughout life's journey. The world already does a great job taking away those moments at every stage of your life, and you just have to learn to be creative in the ways you explore what feeds your happy. You can't let them get you down, man. At the end of the day, it's about perception and the choices you make to ensure you and your happy spaces are not limited. Bye. I hope that was good.
That was great, Jazzy. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Jazzy. Go A's.
Go A's. Yeah, go A's.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think, Wes?
No, I think she's totally right. I mean, it is. I mean,
Hey, Tucker, call in. We see you in. We see the chat. So if you're on the chat and feeling bold, call in. That means you, Tucker. I can see you.
I think she's totally right. But what she's also implying there is that as a kid, you have a sort of like childlike wonder, sense of the world. The joy comes freely to you almost. If you're, I mean, if you're lucky, if you're in a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
But kids are just dying of laughter at the smallest thing. They're chasing a butterfly and they're losing their minds laughing to the point they can't even breathe. And then as you become an adult, she's saying you got to cast a wide net, find things that are interesting, and you have to start working for it as it doesn't come.
Yeah, it does feel that it's something that just comes with more effort as an adult. I think it's something that like you could happen upon. You absolutely still happen upon joy.
Yeah.
Constantly. But I think that it is maybe less frequent because you're so accustomed to the world as it is, or you grow a familiarity with it where it becomes like, I don't want to say it becomes boring, but it becomes predictable. Yeah. And I think a lot of joy comes from unpredictability. Mm-hmm. And I think we try to manufacture that probably in just like engineering more moments for it to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's almost too stressful and could take away from it.
Yeah, if you're trying really hard to have a good time, you might not have a good time. Also, I mean, there's a question of,
Abigail Page, call in. We see you in the comments.
If there's a question of if this is the right goal to have. Do you want a happy life, a joyous life, or do you want a meaningful life or a productive life or a life, if you're an ER doctor, that might not be straight joy. It's not joyous to be in there.
What up?
But that can provide a lot of meaning, so.
She's right here.
The dog's here.
Our very special, hot, sexy guest.
Yes.
Mike Falzotis here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Bathroom's right over there. But okay, so then if joy, then where do you prioritize? Do you think joy's got to be top 3 priority, yeah?
How's it going? Ooh, cold hands.
What up, sexy?
I mean, it's top 3 priority for me, but yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say how much you should be prioritizing that versus getting stuff done. I think that a lot of people, I mean, some people view fun as like a weakness or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't play video games because that's for kids. That's kid stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm an adult.
And like, I think it's so funny because like I think it's like being like joy is something that is so intrinsic to being a child, and like what makes it move away from being like an adult's responsibility, like joy.
Well, if you can, I mean, there's a lot of times I think I might forego joy, and I think it is if I found something more meaningful. Like if you could alleviate someone else's suffering instead of just hanging at home, what you would rather do that. Mm-hmm. Because the world will just introduce suffering to people, and so if you can alleviate that in any way, that could be a really meaningful experience. But you could be foregoing joy where you're just like, oh, just sitting at home drinking or whatever. So you can go out and be more productive than that. But at the same time, a life devoid of joy is just not a life worth living. That just
that's nothing.
Yeah.
So then what do you think it is that makes joy feel far and fewer between now? Do you think it's something that's intrinsic to like adulthood, or do you think it's a generational thing? Do you think it's something where it's just like we're experiencing it more now than ever compared to any generation before? Okay, wait, Mike, let's get your take on this first.
Where do you want me to sit?
You can sit right here.
Okay.
And then Mike is right there if you want to throw it on. There's a little magnet on the back.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
Um,
fancy.
The question is growing up just learning to limit your joy?
I don't know.
You walk out.
I don't know.
Like, I have no idea.
Probably or something. I don't know.
I think I'd like to do a little bit of listening first.
Okay,
but
we got
what
you,
do
we
we
got
mean
you.
by like? Are you talking about specific joy?
I don't think specific. I think joy in general, and I think I think it comes from being an adult. It does feel like joy is fewer and farther between sometimes, and it's also like a question of like how much are you supposed to or like allowed to enjoy life? Because I think it's one of those things, especially like given just like everything in the news, bills, responsibilities. Like I feel like I mean, like, I actually know it's a great example of this. Wes, could you go over the what's it, the cliff humor, the humor cliff?
The humor cliff. So the amount. This is the percentage of people that say they reported smiling and laughing a lot yesterday. So at age 23, it's about 85% of people, and then in your midlife, it gets to be just about 60% of people. So it goes. There's basically a U shape cliff, and so essentially, as soon as you're out of college and you start,
Do you want to show them the chart?
a day job?
I need to see the
Here's-
shape. Or I
here's the
won't
chart.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
know how
this
big you are
is,
on charts.
if you're 23, that you're laughing a lot, 85%, and
Yeah.
then it gets lower.
And I
lower,
can't
lower.
help but feel like
and then
that's
goes
people
back up.
entering the job force.
Yeah, 100%. So we were saying that a lot of what brings joy is unpredictability or something funny happening out of the blue. And when you enter a professional workspace, the whole thing is to be predictable. Everyone wears a suit. We're wearing the same thing. We say please and thank you. So saying out of pocket stuff and being funny and weird and telling risky jokes is completely discouraged
Right.
in a formal setting. Luckily, none of us are in that.
So and never will be.
Yeah.
And wilt.
Yeah.
So the question is whether or not you are supposed to limit
I
your
think-
joy.
I
Or
think it's
whether
not
the
even not
world-
whether you're supposed to or not. I think it's whether part of growing up is limiting joy.
I think I think the more aware you are of how maybe not great things are in general, I think it takes work. You know how they all don't move. We got it. You know how they're always like, it takes work to make a relationship work or
Yeah.
a marriage work or whatever. It's like it's great, and there's all these avenues as you get older that I've experienced and yet to experience that bring great joy, but it seems like it you have to look for it and you have to work towards it more. So I think like hands off the wheel, unbridled like cruise control joy is maybe not coming in as much.
Yeah.
But I think it's there. Like I know some really joyous older people, and it's because they choose like it's more of a choice that you have to work towards rather than like I'll just sit here and it's going to come to me.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about is when you're a child, it's we're talking about sort of childlike wonder or just abandonment. They can be outside just running, just dying of laughter. And that's harder to come by as an adult.
Yeah.
But it also, I mean, you might be deliberately foregoing some amount of joy. It also depends how you define joy or happiness. Like, you might be happy just staying at home, taking drugs, like literally giving yourself dopamine. But, I don't know, going to the shelter to help walk the dogs there that, haven't been walked all day might be more meaningful of an experience.
But there's so many things in between like
Yeah.
drugs
Yeah.
and
Saving dogs.
it's saving dogs.
Yeah.
Like there's
We're getting a call, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting
oh
a
my
call.
bad.
You're good.
Hey, this is long time no see. Thanks for calling in, man. Ask who's calling and where from, and happy Monday.
Hey, this is Lola. I'm calling from LA.
Hi, Lola.
Thanks for calling in. We're
Hey guys,
curious.
great to meet you.
It's really good to meet you. We're curious in regards to what your thoughts are.
Okay, I've put a little thought about this the day while I was at work, actually.
Thank
And
you.
no wrong, no wrong. At first, I felt like the answer was yes, because you're learning discipline as you get older. But I don't think growing up is learning to limit your joy. I think it's learning that not everything that feels good actually is joy. And when you're a kid, like,
Interesting.
joy is extremely impulsive. It's like sugar, chaos. It's instant gratification. And it's kind of like whatever feels good in a moment. But as you grow up, you start to notice that a lot of those things don't actually make you feel good. They just give you a quick spike. You can see this like in neuroscience too, where it gets confusing. A lot of what we call joy is really just like a chemical response. It's like a hit of serotonin or dopamine, but like when one performs actual introspection, you can maybe see that it's just an illusion of joy, but it doesn't sustain it. So
Do you think we're
I think
confusing
it's like,
pleasure for joy?
I think pleasure
Tough
can
question.
be joy.
Hard-hitting journalism. you
I
have
gotta
here.
go back to work.
Actually, yes. I think in a lot of instances we do. So a lot of pleasure equates to you feeling joy, but pleasure doesn't necessarily equate to joy. For example, like how many people report after having a one-night stand not being satisfied?
Yeah.
That's like the perfect example of that. So I feel like real joy, not the kind that feels empty after, but the kind that actually feels full, requires a lot of intention. So if anything, growing up isn't about less joy, it's actually about having better selection process.
Do you think that the selection process takes away from the spontaneity that I feel like is like a crucial element in joy?
No, I don't think it needs to be like so thought out beforehand when I say selection process.
Mhm.
I think it's more a principle of like know thyself.
Gotcha.
Knowing yourself, knowing what you actually enjoy, and filling up your soul, like most literally lighting your soul on fire so that you feel joy in a very fulfilling way, as opposed to like quick fixes that you would go for as a kid.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, we appreciate you calling in. Happy Monday.
My pleasure.
Thanks for
Okay.
listening.
Thank you, Lola.
Bye.
Yeah.
Lola, just come over next time.
I know. So dumb.
So close.
Wes, thoughts?
She's right. I don't know. Whatever Lola says, she's right. No, she's. I mean, I think she was talking about, like I was saying with the drug thing. It's like that is maybe not qualified as joy. I think joy could be bigger picture than just temporary bliss. Otherwise everyone would just chase that and do that. And I mean, yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like drugs are so good they'll literally ruin your life. So if you're just only ever chasing after short-term pleasure and that, neurological spike like she was talking about, then you're leaving yourself open to missing out on bigger picture, parts of life that can be meaningful, even though they take work, like you said, to come to fruition. You actually have to work at them instead of just whatever, paying $50 and grabbing a needle off the ground or whatever.
Drugs and stuff, they don't. Just the word joy sits in a different place.
100%.
Because that is like pleasure
yeah.
and whatever. And I could see like putting a conscious physical limit on or conscious limit on deriving pleasure and wanting to make sure you're not doing that selfishly and disregarding like responsibilities and stuff. But joy to me always felt like a deeper emotion,
a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as temporary of a. Yeah.
And I
Like-
think that's the thing with I think that I think pleasure is something. I don't know if it's that we confuse it for joy, but I think pleasure is something that feels conducive of joy. So pleasure is an easy thing to scratch when you're like, oh, this is what I want to get.
Yeah. Well, you'll be happy to know I did my research and looked up what is joy, and it just says a feeling of pleasure.
Oh, so it is
never mind.
pleasure.
So we're totally
So
wrong.
joy is pleasure.
No, it
Thanks
says,
for calling in, everyone.
It says, this is from Oxford Dictionary, and it says, a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. Tears of joy. I felt shame that I had ever joyed in his discomfiture or pain. Oh, that's
What?
I don't know why they use that.
That's
as
such a
why is-
crazy
yeah, why
example
is
to
that the
use.
example of the word?
That's something
Yeah.
you don't know until you grow up. You can,
Yeah.
you can derive joy from
Yeah,
somebody else's pain.
Have you heard of Schadenfreude? That's what it is in German, and it's like Schade is like when something goes wrong, you'd be like, oh, that's a shame, and then Freude is like to be happy. So it's like happiness at someone else's
Yeah.
misfortune.
That's cool that that's a German word.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great one. It's funny because everyone's like, I've totally experienced.
You're
It. You know,
like,
it's
I'm
yeah.
familiar with
When
the
someone
feeling.
you hate, yeah. The kid you hate in the class gets called on, and he just the aunt just fucks it up, and you're
Yeah.
like, nice.
You can't read out
Oh,
loud.
it's so good.
The guy that bullies you, stutters during his turn at popcorn
Yeah,
reading.
dude.
Yeah.
Take that, Tommy
Yeah,
Costco.
and you just nom, nom, nom. That nice feeling, yeah. But yeah, I agree that I've always thought of joy as a bigger picture, almost like a satisfaction thing, but I don't know, it's just
I
more
think
meaningful
about
than
older people who talk about the joy they get from having children,
yeah,
which
mhm.
is obviously very stressful, and even before the kids could bring you any kind of like mutual joy,
Mhm.
before they're old enough to like
Tell jokes and
tell jokes
yeah.
and be cool
yeah.
and bring you drugs.
yeah.
There's obviously a lot of stress that goes into it, and it's like, financially stressful and all
Yeah.
this stuff, and it puts a great strain on your relationship. But then people who have kids talk about like, it's a joy I've never known, blah blah blah.
Yeah. It feels like the rest of my life was in black and white, and then I had kids, and the
Yeah.
color turned on. They
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
talk about it in those terms.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's almost like I want to believe that there's the same amount happening all the time, but you have to look in different places for the older you get.
yeah. Also, I mean, a lot of it is just delayed gratification. It's you can turn in short-term joy for long-term joy. Going to work consistently, showing up on time. It's like, okay, well, you could have taken the day off and gone to Six Flags or whatever, but over years, if you can retire and you if you stick to a plan, then you can have a great life in other ways that would not have worked out if you were just goofing around all the.
You could
all
buy
the time.
Six Flags if you never call out of work.
If you really do something right, yeah,
If you want.
yeah,
I can't help but feel like the delayed gratification thing makes it feel like it's not even that like learning to limit but that does feel like you are learning to limit your joy, because you're like, I'm going to put work in. Maybe I won't enjoy this as much because I know the payoff will be joyful. And I think in that way, it is learning how to limit your joy, because you're like, or pleasure,
yeah,
where it's like, I don't need to like do Molly every day because it feels good and that's where all my joy comes from. But you're like, I'm going to work hard and like put in all this effort to like for this like payoff.
yeah. But that's what it's delayed gratification, not denied gratification, because you're expecting that it'll multiply, maybe even exponentially, if you put in forgo fun now so that you can experience it later. But that goes into the question for this week was almost how much fun should we be having? That's we were in the same realm, but it's an interesting question because you could die at any time. But at the same time, like we said, if you're just doing drugs and eating Molly, that's not a plan. Then you're really not planning for the future. But at the same time, people act a little bit like some people act like we're in a dress rehearsal. They're like, oh, once I'm done with high school, once I'm done with college, once I've got a job, once I've got a house, once I've married, and once I have kids, once the kids are out of the house, then it's like,
Then I'll be happy.
yeah, then I'll be happy. It's like, whoa, this is life here.
You're in it
there's
right
no
now.
redos. Like, yeah. So you got to either figure out a way to be happy now, or realize that you might not be content with just being happy for the last 5 years, or just busy or whatever. Yeah. Less busy.
I think about balance a lot. And it almost seems like with delayed gratification or instant gratification and all the other stuff you have to balance in your life, it almost seems like there could be the same amount at all times, but you have to pick and choose when it happens.
Mhm.
So I guess that would technically be putting a limit on the joy in the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
but it's not like it doesn't seem like. I guess depending on the person and the circumstance, it doesn't seem like there's ever like a drought. You know,
Yeah.
like there's always something that could be bringing you joy. It's just whether or not you found it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, let's go back to drugs. Let's say you're getting it a lot from drugs, but it's not sustainable to keep doing that.
Yeah.
So you cut the drugs out of your life, and just because you haven't found something to substitute that doesn't mean it's not
Out there.
around. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's also obviously, your surroundings or your situation can just rob you of all your joy.
Mhm.
Something really bad's happening in your life, then it's hard to find joy. But I think in like a lot of art and culture and stuff, they show that even in the worst scenarios, there still can be joy. There still can be something funny. Like what, even if it's like.
Have you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
Mm-mm.
It's just him in the concentration camp talking about like them having a goofy time.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's what I was just about to say. It's
And
like
it's
I know
just
that
like
there are,
a-
like small stories, like even from like Elie Wiesel and stuff, where they're like, oh, and then that would make us laugh. What some weird thing, or even just a funny person, even though you're in the worst possible conditions, something funny can still happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Somebody
is-
you could always fart.
Yeah, yeah.
No matter what.
That's
Yeah,
what you
it
do,
doesn't
yeah.
matter where.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where,
Do we think that joy is a necessary trade-off for stability? Kind of back to the like delayed gratification.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask Mike. Do you think that all comedy comes from an element of surprise? Because I was listening. I think Jesselnick said he thinks it does, but I was trying to think of an example where it doesn't, and it was like maybe if there's dramatic irony, like somebody drops a banana peel, and then everyone there's a scene happens, and everyone's walking around it the whole time, and so you're like anticipating it, and then when somebody does fall on the banana peel, you're not surprised by that, but you still laugh.
Right. I could definitely see him
Yeah.
saying that because of the way he writes specifically.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess in the essence of like what a punchline is, you want it to be something that everyone's not thinking at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm inclined to agree with that. I get all fucked up when I hear people say all,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I never want to be like so absolute about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you see something coming from a mile away, and just because it happens is
it's
funny.
So funny. Yeah.
But a lot for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. And that's why I think that's part of the humor cliff as well, is because everyone starts acting how they're supposed to. It's like here's our set rules, here's our box of stuff we say, and everything out of that we don't do. And so it is, I mean, jokes usually like it's what somebody has to say something that's not the exact right thing.
Yeah.
Here's your order. Thank you, sir.
Right.
I will eat it now. You know what I mean? Like that, you can't be funny if it's a normal thing
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
So you have to go, somewhere,
Who do
Out of
you
left
think
field.
benefits from adults being less joyful? I mean, like, okay, so let's say we're squeezing the joy out of adulthood, be that like in a professional setting.
Mhm.
Who's the big winner? What is that for?
It's more efficient and it gives everyone guidelines to stay within. I think it's just like literally a efficiency thing, and it's like almost militaristic in that here's all of the rules. I mean, it like really did start with militaries. It was like we're gonna march, everyone steps this way at the same time. You all get literal uniform things, the same.
Mm-hmm.
Here, everyone gets the same sword, the same sandals, the same shield, and so that's more efficient and than just chaos, right? Everyone's doing their own thing, so it's a better way of organizing to get stuff done, but it's not funny.
Sword
Or
and sandals
joyous.
makes me so nervous.
Yeah.
That
I was
combination of
thinking-
stuff.
Yeah.
But in a company setting, I assume that everyone's sticking to their job and their tasks
Mm-hmm.
is so the company does better. Obviously, someone owns the company,
Mm-hmm.
and then if the company runs well, they get a
They win.
yacht,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
they get
it's-
to do joy on a yacht.
It's so weird to me because like I understand that fully. I get it. But it's also but then you think about like in regards to like your workers are going to be better performers if they feel comfortable, borderline happy at their job.
Yeah.
And that is something where you want to be like squeezing in joy at some part of the
Yeah.
job, because then it's like you have employees who feel like in sync with, they're like, oh, I actually like my job and I like the people I work with and I think it's fun and it's goofy or whatever, I have a good time there. So it's like we're scared of that being a threat to inefficiency.
Mhm.
But then are we now like, is this joy being like squeezed out now at the cost of just like overall satisfaction and happiness with one's life at their work?
What will really not make for a good work environment is if people are saying crazy things all the time, or making unwanted.
We
sexual
work in
advances
comedy
and everything. I know. Yeah.
it's working, like it works.
Sure. I mean, yeah. We're the only ones that did not fall off the humor cliff because we made our lives out of it.
Yes, we're hanging on to the
Um,
side.
Yeah, it says that an average 4-year-old will laugh up to 300 times a day, and it takes an adult 2.5 months to laugh that much.
Yeah, but that little idiot doesn't even know what's funny.
I know, yeah.
You could
No
hide
tease.
behind a
Everything
book.
is
Then you
that's-
talk to
yeah.
Jeselnik.
Yeah.
In a work environment where you're talking about, wouldn't it behoove the boss to make sure their workers squeeze in some joy?
Exactly.
I think they would think, if I ran the most boring company in the world, my answer would be like, that's why I let them wear jeans on Friday."
Yeah.
You know
We
what I
have
mean?
fun shirt Fridays.
Yeah.
You're like,
And bagels.
Well, I mean,
So
yeah.
you have your joy.
But yeah, they're more just saying like, here's your behaviors, stay inside the box. You can have fun, but you can't go outside of our expectation box.
but we're not saying
Jump
like you
corn in
have
the
to be
face.
like, I brought a slip inside to work. Like
Well,
that
is-
kind of
that is
craziness.
the type of thing that they try to do. To
I
be
know.
like, yeah, no, you guys
just
can't
have
speak
goofier
freely.
employees.
Yeah. No, but the thing is like, it depends what you mean by goofy, because some people might
Yeah.
think that's totally not funny if you say some off-color joke or whatever, and then the company's getting sued. That's a
Of
whole
course,
thing.
of
And
course.
that's what's actually inefficient. And so
Of
they
course.
go, we'd rather have everyone sort of just not really
Button
tell
up, not
jokes,
talk.
button up,
Cubicle
That's
land for
right,
everyone.
Yeah, instead of, yeah.
All right, we're getting a caller.
Here we go.
Welcome to Long Time No See. Thanks for calling in. May I ask who's calling and where from?
Oh man, it's the other Wes
Oh, God.
from good old San Pedro. Mike Falzone's largest fan.
Hi, Wes.
He says hi.
Hello. So you guys are talking
wave.
about this joy thing. I think I'll keep my stuff like limited, but I think that I think the answer is yes for some things. I think if you're talking about like physical joy, like anytime I do anything at this point, anything, I am borrowing from myself. So like if I go out, like you guys are even talking to the comedy club, and I have like a wonderful night of laughs and like it's great, the amount of dopamine that my body and serotonin that my body has to like claim from in the future is like depleted for like days. Same thing with like if I go out drinking, if I go out to like a music fest, like these big moments of joy. But then at the same time, I think that the remedy to that and learning to be an adult, learning to limit joy, I think it's learning to find what actual joy is. I think that joy is different when you're a kid. Like everything can bring you like unfettered joy, but like when you're an adult, like you really have to learn to be able to get it all the time and to like be able to do, it has to be things that are like sustainable and free. And like it's simpler. It's like, it's almost like being a kid again. You know what I mean? Like the keys jangling in front of my face are like fun because it jingles and it's new and it's sensory. but it's got to be simple, because otherwise, like, you start talking about money, we have to like do things to make money, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just all seems to be like borrowing from myself to experience joy, no matter what, whether it's physical, it's esoteric. So you got to really like learn how to figure out what joy actually is, and it can't be all the superficial stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I think you have to limit yourself, because you're just borrowing from yourself, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Do you think because of like how expensive everything is getting, or like, I think like as an adult, I feel like the obstacle course to find and experience joy feels like more and more like an obstacle course. And do you think because of that, it's leading to people to kind of, I don't want to say give up, but like maybe like find solace in like maybe like entertainment and using that as a route for like pleasure, and being like, okay, well, it sucks. I can't afford to go to a concert with my friends. No, like, it's expensive. Gas sucks.
Right.
I don't want to drive. I can just watch Netflix at home. This makes me feel good. So do you think we're
So
kind of replacing joy with entertainment? And not that entertainment doesn't bring joy. I would say it
Sure,
does.
sure. That's why, yeah. So that's what you're saying. Kind of leads back to the fact where I'm like, we need to relaunch. Like, we need to learn. If you want joy to be sustainable, you have to learn like how to find joy in things that aren't those things, right? Like, where it's like, I mean, we live in Southern California, like all of us, right? And like, how many times do you take for granted that, like, literally, I don't know, dude, 270 days of the year, we get the most beautiful sunset we could ever have, like, compared to anywhere else. Like, we have golden hour. And for me, as somebody who lives here, I get pissed off because I'm like driving in it and I'm blind and I'm like upset. I'm like, what the fuck? But like, you take a second.
God damn it.
Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's like, how have we become so caught up in having to find joy in other things and desensitized to like that shit, like going out and like fucking sitting in a park and just enjoying it. We have the beach, and I go like twice a year, and I live 12 miles away. And other people would be like, what? Like, that's so much fun. I would do that all the time and be like, well, if you live here, that's not the case, you know?
Mhm.
But I think it's easy to get caught up and like, I don't know if it's keeping up with the Joneses, or it's because like other people like influence it, or it's because we are taught like over time that spending money creates joy. Maybe that's like capitalism.
Mhm.
But like, I think that there's so much available to us, especially here, that like you can find joy in like all kinds of small shit. I mean, like, you know, like even like you guys are around comics, you get to be around comics, like you get to hear people telling jokes and people laughing all the time, but you guys are like mainlining joy. And even for that, you can go and sit in a room and you'd be like, that was funny. But it's like, fuck, you're getting to do that every night and see people laugh, like, at the tip. And I guarantee you, you're even, I know you're desensitized to it.
I
You
know
what I
you.
mean? So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I think the real work comes in reminding yourself that you, and letting yourself experience free joy, and experience light, like joy, you know? Like,
Do you think,
being able to go, fuck.
do you think modern life is structured to suppress joy?
I think capitalistic modern life I think joy equates money. I think spending money, because like that's what fuels our economy. So I think we need to be trained. And I didn't even think that, honestly. Like, I wouldn't have connected those dots until we had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that joy is connected to spending money, because that's literally what we're taught. That's what our society, Western society, that's the oil to our engine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, fuck, like, I guess you can't have joy if you can't spend money. And then that's why you get caught up in this like negative feedback loop of looking at other people online going, how the fuck are they in Bali? Like, how are they doing like this? Or how, you know, oh, they traveled to Europe? Like, I thought they were broke and unemployed. Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like twice as shitty because it's like, I can't afford that. How do I have fun? The internet's telling me this is what fun is.
Totally.
And so I just like, it's toxic, but, and every episode that you guys do, like that, you know, I've called in, it's all leads back to how shitty the internet is. But I mean, society, yeah, you know, we're influenced. And influencers are not like people who they have an agenda to make you spend money because that's how they get paid. So, I mean, I think that joys equals money, and it shouldn't. We need to break away from that. So,
What about the money
anyways.
can't buy you happiness thing?
What do you think about that? The money can't buy you happiness. Bumper sticker.
So I believe that semantically that definition is probably correct. Like, I fully believe that it's probably correct. I think the problem with that is that it's a whole lot easier to find it if you have a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't have to worry about how I'm going to feed myself, how I'm going to pay my rent, and whether or not I'm going to be able to put gas in my car, it's going to be a lot easier for me to free up the bandwidth to be happy. So I don't fully agree with that.
Like, it opens up your
it's
options.
right. It's
But
like
I feel,
you can't go
but didn't we?
find
I feel like, but you're like 3 sentences ago, you were like, we need to be, because like between like, okay, is joy something that's chosen or taught? It's taught, and I think we agree that kind of Western culture tends to maybe be like that comes from spending money and like, you know, maybe overindulging in yourself. But then it's like, okay, well, if we're pointing our fingers at being like, okay, well, we need to enjoy our like time and ourselves and with like without having to put a price tag on it, wouldn't that bring us back into the land of being like money can't buy you happiness? I mean, I understand it can give you the ability to find it, but I would say that it's the joy and happiness isn't tethered to money, maybe at all.
Again, if I'm
They're gonna call
working
you
with
that.
inside then I think that I don't think it's tethered to it. I think you're right. I would love if we learned to, like, in Elon Musk's AI-driven world, we're not going to have to worry about any of it.
Thank
so,
God.
like, you know, like, we're fine. You know, don't save money. You're not going to have to worry about retirement. But I do think that, like, as a general adult, right, like, we have those 3 or 4 stressors that it doesn't matter. Like, you need to provide those for it's shelter, food, survivability. Like, you need those 3 things, in my opinion, to be able to free up your brain to, like, to actually be able to try to experience. Because otherwise, like, you could go and watch the prettiest sunset in the world. If you're like, your rent's due tomorrow and you're getting evicted, I don't even know how you could find joy in that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, money doesn't. Money
right?
doesn't make
like,
life better.
Maybe it boils down to even simpler. You just wake up every day and you're like, fuck, hell yeah. You know, I get to live another day. Like, but it's very semantic. You know what I mean? I think it's like, it's one of those things that's like, in a perfect world, like, sure, but life's not a vacuum. And so I think there are like little pieces of it that have to, it's harder to generalize in that way. So
I think you got to skirt your circumstances to make sure. I'll take this. You got to skirt your circumstances, Wes, I think. And this is like even based on what you were saying up top about the pretty sunset and how we take it all for granted. So everyone has a slightly different set of circumstances, or a vastly different set of circumstances. So let's say I'm unhappy because I have this 9 to 5 that I'm trapped in every day. So then I'm like, where can I find joy within my own set of circumstances? And then I say my job starts at 9. So maybe a part of what I do to get joy every day is I wake up at 6 and I go to bed at a reasonable hour so I can wake up at 6 and feel refreshed. And then I could go for a walk or a jog and watch that beautiful sun that you were so fond of at the beginning of this conversation come up, right? And I could sit by my window and I could have a little cup of coffee or some water, Jack. And thank you so much. And Jack just brought me water, and that's bringing me joy. And I never thought I could experience it.
That joy.
But it's like, you have this job that maybe you hate every single day. So I think you got to make the conscious effort to be like, from 6 to 8:30, I'm gonna find my joy. And then, after work gets off at 5, I know I'm gonna sit in traffic for an hour, hour and a half. And then I'll have from 7 to 8 to literally do whatever I want before I have to go to bed early so I could experience my morning joy. And I know I don't disagree at all with what you're saying about how money is tied to joy. It's almost like money gives you the keys to open up a bunch of doors to joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to walk through so many hallways to find the sunset door. You know what I mean? So I don't excuse me, I don't disagree with you at all there. But I do think that there's some channel of joy always available, and sometimes we don't have the energy or the circumstance to find it. But I do think some stuff is always there. Well said.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. I feel like that's what I was trying to say. So
I think we're saying the same thing.
I'm taking it back. That yeah. I agree.
We should have an agree button.
Yeah.
Wes, come over and kiss me on the mouth. That would bring me joy.
That's so funny. No, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing. I think I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Hell yeah.
Well, listen, Wes, we appreciate your callership.
Yeah.
Thanks, Subpar Johnson.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
Happy Monday.
Enjoy the
Thanks.
rest of your condo.
I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Don't hang up. One more thing.
I think I don't even know where this came from, but it was like money doesn't make life better; it makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like whatever's going on, having a bunch of money it makes it easier, but it doesn't make your life all of a sudden good.
Yeah.
If your loved ones are unwell, if you're terminally ill, it's like, all right, have all the money in the world and see if you're happier than somebody who doesn't have much money but it doesn't have those problems.
And I think there's also like a happiness cliff in regards to like money, where there's like a certain number you get to, and then just they're like, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, like everything, it's got diminishing returns. So just that next dollar is
not going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. If you have $1 and you get one more dollar, you're like, my net income or net worth is doubled. Amazing. But if you're a billionaire and you get one extra dollar, you go, that's literally nothing.
Yeah, and
that
then it's
does not matter to me.
What'd you do to get all the money?
Yeah,
like how much joy did you have to either postpone or straight up reject,
deny? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I mentioned this on the call, and I noticed Wes roll his eyes a little. Do you think we're taught to deprioritize joy, or do we choose to?
How can you give an example?
Yes. I would say we're taught to like deprioritize joy, like in the workforce.
Like you're taught to act a certain way.
Yes, like you're kind of like role playing almost with I think a lot of jobs make people literally role play. Like you're a business professional, and then they get home and they're like a silly goofy boy,
right?
And then you go back to work and put your costume back on, and then you're like,
yeah. So the original question was, are we taught to,
or do we choose to, or are we made to?
Whoa.
Scary.
Well, I suppose it's how much you feel like you're beholden to that job. I always
versus
had
yourself.
This thing. This is not. I think it's maybe a personality thing, because to my detriment, sometimes I was always, no matter what job I had, I was always like, I could quit this place tomorrow and pump gas to preserve. I still think that way.
Yeah, of course.
I've also from the time I was in my mid to late 20s to now, I've gotten a lot of my income from the internet, and there isn't a second of living that life where I thought it all couldn't go away tomorrow, but I thought the trade-off between, am I going to be beholden to an office, or am I going to work as hard as I can for myself and hopefully stay above water? Like even that, it's a a difficult thing that brings me joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I don't even have to be goofy, wacky boy saying goofy, wacky shit.
Mm-hmm.
The joy will derive from like I got this checklist of stuff done,
Mm-hmm.
and then I look at that done list and I'm like proud of myself, and
Yeah.
a joy comes from that. Like it's not always careless, responsibility free joy. Sometimes the joy comes from how good I was at staying true to myself or not letting myself down or
Mhm.
whatever. You know?
There's a huge gradient of, like you said, like from drugs to saving lives. There's like this giant gulf of difference there in terms of what we're calling joy. And I guess we sort of at the beginning decided pleasure was like the easy thing to do, and joy is the meaningful, like what life's all about. And so it might bring you joy to finally accomplish a physical goal or something, to run a marathon, even though all of the runs and training and everything you had to do to build
Sucked.
up to it sucked and was, just basically work.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Also, Sword and Sandal, apparently a very popular video game. Joy does not. Also, people tend to get happier after the midlife dip, which happiness often hits a low between 25 and 45 due to career pressures, financial stress, and parenting. So as soon as your kids are a little bit older, you're established in your career, you know who you are, maybe found a partner, people start to.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting another caller.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, welcome to Long Time No See. Thanks for calling in. May we ask who's calling and where from?
Hi guys, this is Shayna, and I'm with. Where from? Like, where am I?
Yeah,
Like in the car.
the car works. Thanks for calling in, Shayna. We'd
Hi.
love to hear your thoughts
Hi, Shayna.
on
from the
this
car.
week's question.
Yes, and you guys, I'm in the car, and I'm here with Heather also, and you guys are on speaker. And
Hey, Heather, we'd love to hear from you also. Happy Monday.
We have been enjoying this. I have a small thought that just came to me when Mike was speaking about sort of the way that he kind of experiences joy, and I'm curious to see if you guys maybe have like a thought on it. But it sounded like Mike was sort of describing joy as almost like a fleeting, like a feeling, like something that we can experience a bunch of times a day, rather than like a mindset, rather than like being joyous. It's like joy is something that we can sort of, even if we are struggling to pay rent or worried about like life stuff, you can still find joy multiple times. Like it's, I don't know if that.
I think it makes sense. I mean, like, I think for me, one big thing is just like, I think joy is really unpredictable. I think it's something that can find itself anywhere. So I would agree with you there.
I think hi, car full of people.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I also think, without having put much thought into this at all, I also think this right now, that all feelings are fleeting, right? And all things must pass or whatever.
This too
And then
shall
I,
pass. Yeah.
what?
This
Yes.
too shall pass. Yeah.
And then I think that maybe the type of if you put a qualifier on your life, if you say, I lead a joyous life, or I lead a mundane life, or I lead a sad life, or whatever, that's just maybe what you feel most of the time. But I think all things are fleeting. And I do like the idea, and I subscribe to the idea of what you said about you could experience a bunch of little joys in your life throughout the day. Maybe they always change. Maybe some of them are the same, but they're always there for you to find. And it's not always easy to find them, but you can.
Yeah, almost like it's just like an emotion to be had, the same way that, yes, like it's just a feeling that, yes. I also, with like it being tied to money, sort of like makes me wonder if, because like I think I have experienced people who come from a very wealthy family who don't have to worry about paying their rent, but like they still struggle to find rent the same way as like friends of mine who maybe are living in a very, like to see both sides, it seems like both people are still struggling to experience joy sometimes. And then both are able to find joy regardless of what's going on that month or that week. Like, it's like a moment to moment thing versus an overall thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Well, I guess my question is, I feel like with that, it almost feels so much more in line with it being something that's like almost for kids. Like, it feels like, is it immature to be chasing joy as an adult or not?
Well, as
I don't think so at all.
right, I agree with you. I agree with you, and also fuck Jack.
The Grinch of joy.
It's like,
brings
I
me
understand
joy.
you have to like bear down and make money to do what you have to do, but if you're not like chasing joy, then what's your life for?
Yeah, what's the point?
You know, you strip away I hate to be this crunchy guy, but you strip away society and whatever, and you're just a person in your little meat suit walking around the earth. Like, aren't you supposed to like enjoy your time, your short time here?
Yeah, I agree with Mike.
Hell yeah.
I definitely. But yeah, it's the same way that like the baby finds joy from like like the keys jangling. It was like making this little sound. It's like that baby's not taking that joy and being like, today was joyous or I'm joyful now. It's like joy in that moment, and then it's like, all right, next moment. Like, you know, and then, but I still think if I was a baby, like, what brings me joy today wouldn't have, like, 2-year-old me is not excited about being on some comedy show. You know, like, 2-year-old me would not find joy in what I find. But also, at the same time, joy can be the smell of a flower. I think your ability to find joy is equal to your ability to be present,
Yeah.
to receive from the moment that you're in.
Yeah, dude. Did you read that Rick Rubin book at all? That Creative Act?
Oh, no, but I've definitely heard a lot about it.
It's awesome, dude. I've read it a lot. It's the most like not up its own ass book about creativity that I've ever read, and I bought it for so many people, and I tell so many people about it. And in the very beginning, he talks about how creativity is something that everyone can do. You're not like, there's no such thing as an uncreative person. It's just always kind of buzzing around us, and you gotta like you said, be present and tap in and like feed off of it in order to put it into practice. And I don't see any reason why joy couldn't be the same way. And I also have a follow-up question about the keys thing. When was the last time you tried to jangle
Key
keys? How do you know it?
Shada, take the keys out of your ignition.
Yeah.
How do you know it doesn't hit the same?
Yeah.
Dude, our Xander is just the funniest. Yeah, should we just...
Just pull over. Son.
Pull over.
Just
Pull over.
pull
so you
over.
can try
It'll
it
be
out.
easy.
Yeah.
Give me your keys. Are they in the ignition? Yeah. Thank you guys. Fun
Yeah.
conversation. It's been fun to listen to, and I feel like what a great topic whoever chose. Yeah, good.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Shana.
it's interesting. It's all around us. It's you, whatever you perceive, however you believe it, you find it. That's how you like. It's just an interesting. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, dude.
I just, I agree. I think joy. I think the problem is that we're just so busy and caught up that we don't realize you can find joy in a lot of little things, and as they add up, you feel like you've had a pretty joyful day. I think,
Yeah, dude.
Joy stack, joy maxing. Yeah.
Joy maxing the car ride.
I've got another follow-up question. Nope, stay on the line. We
No,
got
no.
more questions. Sorry. Well, you're on the show now.
Let
I
her-
take it you guys are driving over to my place.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so interesting because when I thought about this, I actually thought about this in a negative direction, but I actually think it's a positive direction now that we just talked about it. But still, I'm torn. Do you think, does awareness make joy harder or easier?
I think it makes joy possible. Like, I think without awareness, you're unable to. Okay, this is going to sound, this might not be the right thing,
It's okay.
but joy can almost be looked at the way like an orgasm is. Or like the way that like a rush of energy through your body. Like, it's almost like, to me, it's just like you can do it multiple times a day. Like even if like you're stressed, you can still do. It's still accessible to you. Like or maybe even the idea of pleasuring oneself. It's like you can still do it. Like whether you're going to finish or not, whether it's going to get to that, but you can still. If you aren't even a present in that moment, you're not going to receive the feeling at all. Like you have to be able to receive before you can even determine if it's good or bad or not there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yes. And I think that's how you get most stuff. Like you could be present enough in a situation to feel like despair. If you wake up and the first thing you do is read the news, you're choosing to be present and feel despair and draw from that. But you could also, like Wes, you could also choose to put your phone down and go outside and watch the sun rise or jingle your keys or jerk off or whatever you're doing, you know?
Yeah, but wait, Jack, what do you mean that you saw it in a negative way?
Well, and I think it's a bit kind of like what Mike just touched on. Like, I think being someone who's like socially conscious, paying attention to the news, can really put like a damper in regards to like overall outlook. And I think it's that awareness that I think is something that comes with adulthood that I think can be a hamper to a lot of joy. And I feel like I've heard people talk about you can either be informed or happy.
But isn't
I
that
see what you're saying.
like compartmentalizing? Like you could be, obviously you could be aware and it could bum you the hell out, but you could also, I don't know. It's so hard to be like, I have 24 hours in a day, so from 5 to 6, I'm not going to be bummed out from the stuff I read at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But like that, it all goes back to what I was saying at the beginning when it's like like you have to choose to do it and sometimes you have to work harder. And yeah, I was one of those people who immediately checked the news app as soon as I woke up, a lot, and it was like destroying my life. So I still like to know what's going on, but I do it at different times, or I try to be aware of the balance. You know, I try to be present in how much is on either side to stay evened out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's so interesting to think, because it
makes sense. It's like finding joy is a choice. It's like you can either choose to find it or you can choose to not and look at things differently. But
does that make somebody if somebody is able to find, because it's like if you were having a baby and like there was a war like at the same time as something like really like if you're in like if I don't know, like if you're in like a terrible situation and you're also having a baby, like are you like able to still experience joy for the other moment that's happening at the same time as that other moment?
Like if the baby gets enlisted?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that, yeah.
Hanging up. That would be such a funny part to hang up to.
Using you can like do anything in the middle of a war and be like, I found joy though for a second.
You ever hear that Say Anything song, Alive with the Glory of Love?
Wes, are you getting a call on your phone?
I don't know, sing a little bit of it.
I'm not going to sing. Is not this kind of show. But I think it's about two people falling in love in like a concentration camp. And obviously it's a fictional song. And you were talking about that before.
Viktor Frankl shouts out.
Viktor Frankl. One time.
Wow.
But I think it's the same. It's the same, like if you were just sitting on the couch with nothing to do and you were bored and you chose joy and chose to do something that brought you joy, I think it's the same process, but it's made significantly harder by your circumstances. Like I was saying before, I think sometimes after, a bunch of bad days in a row, you don't have the energy to look for the open door.
Your situation makes it harder to even search for it or help with
Yeah.
to your circumstances that
The-
you don't feel as bad. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also this other thing they talk about, and I'm sure he attributed it to somebody else, but in that Rick Rubin book, they were talking about how, dude, it's this, he puts it in such a simple, beautiful way. And I always try to explain it to people, and I make it so convoluted and horrible.
One of my
But
favorite
it's-
things to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this concept of like you're sitting in this pond and the pond has clear water and you're looking for something, and the more you disturb the water, the
Mhm.
more it kicks up all the dirt and you can't see through to the bottom for what you're looking for.
Wow.
I think that the idea behind that has a lot to do with whether or not we could find joy in what we're looking for. I think if we're always trying so hard, that's like when they're like, you'll find the person
Wow.
you're supposed to be with when you stop looking for it,
Mhm.
type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
idea.
It's almost like it feels safe. It's like the same way like an animal. Like the more you're trying to like grab the animal and like it's like let it just come. Like cats are like that. I think. But I also with the that's so cool the wow thing, like the water, the pond. I always look at that with like I like to meditate, and like when I haven't meditated in a while or like a couple days and the days stack, I always kind of like say that it's the water is very muddy. Like it's like hard for me to like really understand my like feelings when it's like kind of muddy. Like I haven't been in touch with them for a while. You
Yeah,
know, like,
you haven't been still.
and that's kind of exactly what you're saying. It's like I never realized that's why the water's muddy. It's because I'm just splashing around in it all. Like it needs to be still.
Yeah, and every time you think about that from now on, just pretend that I said it. And that would be so
Remember, I
cool.
thought
Like that's Rick Rubin.
It's Rick Rubin talking about somebody else I don't remember.
Rick Rubin / Mike Felsen.
Cool.
Right on.
So
Well-
funny. Somebody like repeats someone's teachings, but they say it as.
Yeah.
Just botch it.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with jokes.
All right. Well, thank you guys for calling in.
Thanks, Shayna from the car.
Have
Thanks.
fun. Happy Monday.
Heather from
Try
the
the
car.
keys thing.
Yeah, try the keys thing. I think a little bit of what they were touching on was, can you feel two things at the same time? Like, and to what extent can we do that? We're getting another call, Jack.
We missed a call. Should we just try calling them back? Is that crazy?
That's not crazy.
That's not crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a go. I don't know.
Calling somebody back isn't any crazier than sitting in your living room and
Talking
live
to
streaming
people.
our opinions.
All right, we're gonna let's see if we can come back.
So can you be joyous and also look at the news and be an empathetic person
Yeah.
when something really bad's happening? That's what she's saying. She's like, if you're in a war zone, you have a baby, you still be excited.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like,
things
yes, but
overshadow.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I guess my question is more about the simultaneousness of it, simultaneity.
I like that.
Do you have to bounce back and forth and be like, oh, I'm actually joyous, I'm having a great day, and oh, actually terrible things are happening, or can you meld those? And is that a sign of mature meditation or even like mature
Hey there,
emotion?
this is Jack with Long Time No See. We noticed we missed a call from you, so we're just giving you a ring back and wanting to see who this is, where you're calling from, and what your thoughts were on this week's question. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, bro. You know, it's me, Alex Peregrino, bro.
What up, brother?
What's up,
Thanks for calling
Alex?
in.
Yeah.
We're bummed we missed you, but we're
What
glad
up,
we got you
Mike?
now.
What up, Wes? I miss you guys. I love you guys. I hope
How's
you
it
guys are
going?
doing well.
We're good, brother. So we're curious. This week's question is growing up just learning to limit your joy? Curious on your thoughts.
I think growing up is making sure you don't limit your joy. You know, because once you start putting a limit on that, you start making it a habit, and then next thing you know, you don't even remember why you were doing what you were, because you're not doing what you love, because you're trying to get everything done. And I don't think joy should ever be limited. I mean, obviously there's a time and place where we can't, like if you're at work, you can't always be happy, but I don't think you should ever try to. Growing up is making sure you always make time for joy, because if you don't, it's just, I mean, the world moves 1,000 miles per hour, so it's like any moment or any second where you can take in some joy, it's like, take it, just go for it. That's what I think.
growing up is like. Because growing up sucks.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. But also, I think that's a good question. It brings up how are we defining growing up?
Yeah, and I think it is.
Are we talking about getting older? Or are we talking about growing up and becoming a more mature person that's more you, better for the world, better for everything? Because then that definitely is not just ignoring joy. Or is growing up just becoming more responsible? Is that how we're defining it?
Well, I think it's both though. I think it's like part of becoming more responsible, also like recognizing who you are, your habits and patterns, and like becoming the person you want to be. And I think that I think now, I don't know, maybe this is a forever thing, but like I think especially now it feels like when it's so easy to lose sense of yourself, given how many opportunities there are to distract you from being you, or like knowing, like, I mean, Mike, well, we've talked about this ad nauseum, how easy it is for people to get distracted from like what really matters.
For sure.
And it feels like we're now at a time where it's just like, if growing up means like recognizing all the shiny things and everything that like can pull your attention away, can do that to a detriment to yourself. And like joy is such a humongous part of, like, I think being like a full person who's comfortable in their own skin and enjoys their day to day, that it is very adult and grown up to be like, this is something I should take seriously. And I think this actually, you know what, this is a great segue into, I think the last question I have, do you think the goal is to maximize joy, or is it something else completely? Alex, I'd be curious on your thoughts, and then we'll cut to Mike and Wes to end the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I don't know, like getting in as much as you can, but also like, again, like the language that we use, like maximizing joy. Like joy is something that is, it comes in so many different fragments. Like, you know, when you think of maximizing, you're thinking of like profits, and like joy isn't something, it's not like a currency. It's like, it's something you can't obtain. You can't get through a program. It's mental, it's spiritual. It's just being present and finding the joy in being present, especially like you said, like once you start living in your joy and you run into someone and they're happy, like with the things that they like, it's contagious, and you want to move in that way. They move lighter, they seem lighter. So I think making sure that you take in enough joy, but also giving yourself enough room and grace to understand, like you said, we can get distracted and move away from that, but always walking towards it is the most important part. I'm not sure about maximizing. I mean, I'm on antidepressants, so I don't know. I'm maximizing mine right now, I guess, so we'll see. But I just think, like, yeah, it's like, take it where you can, man. Like in the little things, like this phone call, doing things that you don't normally do. Like I don't normally do stuff like this, but you find joy in taking the new step in a direction. So.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, Alex. Happy
Thanks,
Monday.
Buddy. Love you, dude.
Alex.
Dude, happy Monday, brother. I miss you guys.
Miss you too, brother. Hope you're well.
Alex,
Peace.
The absolute man.
That was great. That made me so happy.
Yeah, it did. That was awesome. And also, he's right. Like, it's not like
it's not like a benchmark. It's not a currency. It's not like, I feel like it almost feels like you want to put it on like your chore list, or like it's like an errand you have to do. And it is so violently not that.
Yeah.
It is something that I think like lives and breathes around. It's like air. And it's like, if you try to quantify it or do it, like it's like trying to catch like mist. You're like, you can't, it's not like that.
It's catch smoke. But
do the overall question of the show, I don't agree with, does getting older and wiser and more mature limit your joy?
Mm-hmm.
I do think you become more aware of stuff and therefore more distracted in pursuit, but I think it's always there, and even though it's harder to come by, to live in a way that's in the pursuit of joy is I think that's probably the best way to live.
Mhm.
Kid Cudi. Yeah.
Pursuit of happiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say. That was beautiful. that was so beautiful. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
All right. Well,
Wait,
thanks
hold
for
on.
calling in, everyone.
Okay.
This was such a fun show. Happy Monday. We'll be back next Monday with a new question.
Joyous Monday.
Joyous Monday. Big
Yeah.
joyous Monday. And then reminder, May 18th, we're doing this in person, live in a backyard. We'll have the
it,
link
you
out
love it.
soon. It'll be free. There'll be food, drinks, whatever. Come hang. It'll be easy. All right.
That's right. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Happy Monday. Yeah.